So, hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on variant management with pure variants and with Codebeamer together. So we will just start the session. A few might join later, but let's just start and get you on speed what variant management is made of, and how to do it with pure variants, and how to see it in Codebeamer and all these things. So who we are today. So basically this webinar is given by Yash and me. So we are joined, he's joined from PTC for this webinar. I joined from NAGNA Systems side, and we're doing it together, just distributing the topic a little bit. More insights on pure from Yash, as he's been familiar with it now for several years, and a bit more on the Codebeamer side from my side, because we are more the experts on Codebeamer and so on. So, but first, let's tell you a little bit about NAGNA for those who don't know NAGNA yet. NAGNA basically has three pillars in there where we are seeing our competence. So we are consulting a lot, and so we're having different customers, different companies where we're consulting from process-wise, but also tool-wise. And we're broad in the area of systems engineering and giving consulting in all manners. From there on, we relatively fast also went into the software of reselling. So into the topic of reselling software, not only PTC, but also other tools in there. And from there on, and you know, from all the customer projects, you always identify needs and things like that. So we developed our own products, which we are then now selling, and which are integrations, migration tools, and add-ons, and a lot of things for different tools. We're having a broad customer base. So we are having big customers there, like Porsche and ZF and Carriot and all the others, but also some smaller companies where we are supporting process-wise, developing tools, developing integrations, and helping them in a lot of parts. Additionally, we also have a lot of partners. The most to have a broad, diverse competence in multiple different tools. And we're not only PTC partner, we are also partner of Atlassian. We also have knowledge in Smartsheet and Apptio, also in Pure. That's why we're here, and also in many other areas and many other topics. That's where we are coming from. As PTC is one of the most important ones till now. That's why we're here now together with Yash, who's been around now with pure variants for a long while, and also now with PTC. And as you can see, this is the PTC portfolio, handling multiple different areas, so giving you tools for all the individual areas. And also we're here in the part of ALM, where we're doing our requirements management and test management, so the classical application lifecycle management, where we're not only having Codebeamer, but also pure variants. And pure variants been in the market for around 22 years, since they were acquired by PTC in October 2023, and giving us more flexibility and more possibilities to move forward with the different tools. But that's enough for introduction. That's just mainly giving you an idea where we are coming from. And now the more important part is where we're heading on today. So let's have a short look on today's agenda. So the idea is to first give you a little bit of a theoretical background of what are the concepts of pure variants, what is the concept of variant management. Then we are telling you a little bit of what references in Codebeamer are, and how linked propagation theoretically works in Codebeamer. And then for most of you, maybe the most important part, the live demo, and showing you on how both tools are integrated, how Codebeamer works with pure variants, and how we can work with variant models and Codebeamer. So with this, I would hand over to Yash to give you the theoretical background, so that you all are familiar with variant models, family models, and all these things. And then we hear each other back once we're coming to the demo.
Yeah. Thanks, Fabian. So we will be walking you through this essential concepts or concept of link propagation, yeah, that helps simplify and enhance your product and engineering processes. Uh, like as you know, managing variability across different product line can be a complex task, especially when handling many work items like requirements, test cases, and configurations option. So today we will focus on how link propagation can help us efficiently manage these connections. Yeah, so ensuring that changes and updates in product lines are consistent and automated. Yeah, through our live demo session later. So, in before diving into link propagation, let me first provide some context around product line engineering and how we manage variability using pure variance. Yeah. So in product line engineering, the goal is to efficiently manage a family of related products. It's not about single one variant, but normally, like we see that we are having many product variants which can share like common requirements and common feature. Yeah, but also have variations to meet different market or different market demand. Yeah. So this is where variant management becomes very critical. So now let's understand what we mean by product line engineering with pure variants. So first thing, pure variants is fully compliance with the ISO standard 26580. Yeah, and this is the standard of for a feature-driven product line engineering. And now you see here on the left-hand side on your screen is a domain engineering, and we show or we start with the feature model. Yeah. So now feature models, you can say this is the place where you can express the variabilities, yeah, efficiently. Fabian, can you press next? I just want to show them the picture of feature model. Yes, yes. So this is the um, this how the feature model should look like in pure variants. Yeah, because it captures all the feature and relation that exist within your product line in form of the feature model. So these features are mainly created on your product context and also how stakeholders would like to represent the variabilities of product line. So you see here we are using external car light feature. So it's kind of like all the features of your car light or front car light product. Yeah, so we will use this example also in the demo as well. Yeah, and also you see here we using a different types of variation types to build a feature model having a parent children relationships between them. Yeah, for example, this starts with the beam configuration and low beam. So those are the mandatory features. Yeah, so those features are really necessary. And then you have some kind of alternative features or alternative variation types as well. Yeah, where you have multiple options, but when you really go to configuration, yeah, at the configuration part, you are only allowed to select one out of n feature. And then we have some optional feature, yeah, where it's completely dependent on the user. Either he wants to select or he don't want to select. And the last but not least is or feature types. Uh, uh, if you see below the last main feature, which is driver assistance, and under this driver assistance, which is optional, and then we included some of the or feature list like automatic light, cornering light. Yeah, so those are the or features, and or features or the main idea behind it is you are also you can also able to select multiple features as well. It's not only that you are only select one, you are only allowed to select one. Yeah, if you want you can select all of them, but at least one feature has to be selected. Yeah, because it makes sense if you are already using the driver assistance. Yeah, then it makes sense to at least have one features to be selected as a children. Yeah, that's why you are selecting driver assistance. And we also establish a connection between features as well using relationships. Yeah, so we will also see in the live demonstration later. So go next, Fabian. Yeah, so domain assets, one more please. Yeah, so domain assets means like it's your 150% specification from your third party engineering tool where you use any tool for your requirement. Yeah, and here we are talking about the Codebeamer side. So in Codebeamer you have all the requirements collected in one such a big document, right? So here you don't describe only requirements related to one single product, but you are writing all the requirements which are also useful for many product variants as well. Yeah, and that's what we call the 150% specification. Yeah, because out of this 150% specification, we are able to derive the variant specific assets, so the only requirements, only test cases, only test steps even, which are really specific for your one single product variant. Doesn't matter if it's for one product, like for one market, or when you talk about systems and subsystems, so you can even concentrate on that level as well. So, and here we use this concept of PV restriction. On the right hand side, you see PV restriction column. So this is the field created in Codebeamer side. So where we can use features actually restrict the requirement. For example, in the second requirement, we have used feature USA or Canada. So we can even use multiple features, with help of logical operators to form a concrete restriction. And if the restriction is evaluated as true, then the particular requirement would be part of your variant. Otherwise, it's simply deleted from your product variant. So here we only put a restriction to the variant specific requirement. We don't touch the common requirements, because common requirements are such part of in each of the variants that you will create. You need those requirements in all of the markets, for example. So going next, so far we have talked about only the domain engineering side, which is the left side of this concept slide, but then we come to the application engineering side, where we really talk about one single specific variant, right? And you see this, the picture of variant model, it completely looks similar to the feature model. Only difference is that you see the square little box in front of feature. That means here now you can actually configure your variant. You only select the feature that you really want to include for your one particular variant, right? And maybe I'm creating this variant for, let's say, Denmark market. So I will only include the feature which are relevant for my Denmark market car light. So this is from the application engineering side variant model. So we can also create variant model in pure variant side. And the last is when we actually derive the variant specific asset, right? So in pure variants, we trigger a transformation. We first configure a variant, and then we actually trigger transformation, which enables another working set in Codebeamer. So we also have this working set transformation. So transformation is a process where you actually able to derive a variant specific asset. So you only include the requirements which are relevant for your variant. You only include those architecture models, your source code, which are really variant specific. And as a last step, you see only these requirements are included, which is really specific for your variant. And it's not only about requirements. We can also connect to your architecture tool, your architecture models, your test cases in Codebeamer, also even source code as well. But this is something when you actually derive after triggering a transformation. We will also see in this webcast how to also create the variant specific assets in Codebeamer site. So going next, Fabian, please. So I just want to talk about that. If you combine this upper part, feature model and variant model, then it forms a problem space. And lower side, domain assets and variant assets are formed the solution space. So problem space is everything you can do with pure variants, right? You create feature model in pure variants, you create variant models in pure variants, and the opposite to that is your domain asset, which is your 150% specification in third-party engineering tool, right? In Codebeamer side. And then on the right hand side, even when you trigger a transformation and you finally derive variant specific asset, it will be also created in your requirement tool. So that's the solution space for us. So now let's take this step further and understand how the how the feature model connects to the different stages of the V model. You see this V model starting from the requirement side and then comes to the design phase in your architecture models, and then not only the system side but also you want to consider the software side as well. System and software together. You want to run the whole show with connecting to the pure variance feature model. Then pure variance feature model will be kind of the central heart for all the life cycle steps, right? So it connects to the different stages of the V model, and this V model represent the life cycle of the product. Yeah, starting from requirement all the way to the testing side as well. Yeah. So let's get started by first understanding the concept of references. So please, Fabian, next. Yes. So references in Codebeamer, right? So in Codebeamer, like references allow you to establish a connection, yeah, or the relationships between different tracker items, so such as requirements and test cases, or even further test steps, right? So these references can either be one-to-one or one-to-n, I mean one-to-many relations, so depending how they are set up, right? So imagine you have a requirement that is validated by multiple test cases, yeah, not single test but multiple test cases. In this scenario, each test case would be a reference to the original requirement item, yeah. So which creates a one-to-many relations. And alternatively, like if a test case verifies a single requirement, then you had a one-to-one reference. So now, and also references are represented by the specific tracker fields, right? And here we will use this the tracker field references the type. Yeah, so type is assigned to a field of type choice. So when we talk about this link propagation, then this becomes really critical that we use this type choice or the choice field, and the data source for this field is set to work or config items. So meaning it can reference other tracker items in the same project, right? For instance, reference field might define whether a requirement is verified by traces back to the test case, right? And it could be upstream or downstream references as well. Yeah, so we will use these references for link propagation. So now let's talk about the link propagation in the next slide. So going next, yeah. Let's understand this concept of link propagation, how theoretical it looks like, yeah, which is where the real pure variants contributes, yeah, or you can say pure variants connector comes into play. So the idea behind link propagation is to automate the existence of related items, yeah, across your product variants based on the references between tracker items. So in your organization, if you already have these references created, yeah, between different tracker items, you can make use of those references to simplify or to handle the existence of the test cases or requirements. Yeah. So in Codebeamer, references between items such as requirement and test case, right, and are assigned a link type, a proper type. Like for example, let's take a verifies link. So verifies link type might indicate that a test case verifies a requirement, right? So let's look at the real example. For example, imagine you are working on the automotive project with some system requirement related to the infotainment system, right? So this infotainment is linked to multiple test cases that validate the functionality of features such as navigation or audio or something like this. And when you create a new product variant, right, that is a basic, you want to create some basic model without an infotainment system. So the link propagation feature actually automatically detects this, that the test cases, all the test cases which are related to infotainment system are not relevant, right? And with pure variants, if that requirements are not part of that, then automatically the test case will be also removed, yeah, with help of link propagation. So it's clearly depending on the existence of target and source. Yeah. So if the source is not there, then the target will be also detected that it needs to be removed. Yeah. So you don't need to put those restriction specified to that. Yeah. So let's see how first pure variants web client look like. Yeah. So we will see in the live demonstration. So I will first show you pure variants web client, which is the web version of pure variants. Yeah, how we can create feature model, how we can see the variant model. Yeah, all of these things. So first I will share my screen. So maybe Fabian, you need to share. Yes. So let me know if you can see my screen now.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So here what you can see currently is the automotive demo Carlite pure variants project, yeah, in the web client. And this is my project. And this you can already see is my feature model. Yeah, so I'm using two different feature models. It's possible to use multiple feature models as well, but the only thing is that this both feature models are part of my configuration. Yeah, so that means if when I create a variant, yeah, so this both these feature models are part of my configuration. So first let me show you the functional features. So I'll select my functional feature and we'll use this icon. Yeah, so now feature models is already created. Yeah, you see I am using different variation types. Yeah, so under this low beam I have some alternative features, xenon and halogen. Yeah, so that means I'm only allowed to select one feature out of it. And also under this high beam I have some alternative features. Yeah, and now you see this driving assistance feature, I'm using some OR feature list. Yeah, and here you can see in daytime running light, if I expand this one, yeah, I'm also using some attribute values. For example, I created this attribute called pulse. Yeah, imagine you have some variable parameter inside your pure variance. Yeah, for example, some requirement which is really specifically talking about the frequency. Yeah, and you want to have a different values depending on the market that you create, right? So pure variance can also able to help you that you when you configure your variant, you can actually specify the value that you really want to have for your one specific variant, right? Like this. So now I will show you the configuration space. So for that, I will first jump to the project. Yeah, and this is my configuration space. And under this configuration space, you can actually store all of the variants, right? So I already created some of the variants, and how I also have some intermediate variants as well, partial configuration. Yeah. So partial configuration means you don't want to directly um, configure your 150 to 100 directly. Yeah, but you want to have an intermediate step in between. So you want a gradual uh, uh, step, for example, 150 to 120 and then 120 to finally 100. So I will first show you how to create a new variant in the configuration space. I can go to the create variant model, yeah, which opens a context menu. For example, highlight maybe Denmark. Yeah, I'm creating a very new variant for my Denmark market. Pressing next. So it's just gives you a place where you want to store. And here, actually, we can inherit some models. Yeah. For example, I want to copy all the configuration from my previously created variant. And here I'm creating for my highlight models, right? So I already have some partial configure highlight. So I want to use all those configuration to be copied here, right? So I'll use this. So all the changes will be inherited in this variant model, and then pressing next. Okay, I want to have full configuration, and we'll press finish. Okay, so now this variant model has already been created. So now I will open this variant model, highlight Denmark. You see there are some errors, yeah, which is shown by pure variants directly on the left hand side, and you see why these errors are happening, because those are the OR feature types. Yeah, even here, yeah, you see in the beam configuration, I have some selection locked. Yeah, why? Because I inherited this model from highlight, and in highlight variant model I already selected these features. So that means these features are not anymore longer for selection state. And here I'm seeing this error. Why? I can hover over this, and then it also shows me why there are some open or alternatives, EMEA and North America. Yeah, so we have to at least select one feature out of this. Even we can see all the errors, yeah, in the evaluation button. So it also shows us, and then we can, if we directly click on this button, then it will take us the right place, yeah, where we have this error. And here we are creating a Denmark market, so it makes sense to select the EMEA, right? I will enable the edit mode, and this is for part of my EU market. Yeah, and EU I have this Denmark, and it also shows that it requires fog light. So these are the dependencies between features as well, like Denmark. Yeah, so that's how we can configure the variant model. Yeah, and the rest part will now Fabian will show us how this link propagation works in Codebeamer side. Yeah, he will also show the transformation part as well at the final step. So Fabian. It's all yours now. I will unshare my screen.
So you're able to see my screen again?
Yes, now I can see your screen.
Cool. So let's head back to Codebeamer and let's show you a little bit on Codebeamer and how Codebeamer now integrates with pure variants. So what we have is a demo project simply in Codebeamer, and where we're focusing on today are two trackers. So for this demo session, we're focusing on software requirements and software test cases. So we're not focusing on the others, but the concepts are just transferable to whatever other types you have in Codebeamer setup. So let's head to our software requirements tracker, where we have a lot of software requirements already included in here. And to enable Pure, you need to install the Pure Variants widget, which is then coming up here with the new icons. So the first three you should know if you already have opened Codebeamer once, but this one is the Pure Variants widget. And what you can see in here is that we have our configuration space and the model which Yash showed you a second ago. So this is where you can see all of the features. So where we can see the feature model with the driver assistance, with the different features he selected. You know, the same stuff you saw in the web client a second ago, which you can see here in Codebeamer as well. So you get all your features from the feature model in Codebeamer directly and can see them in here. Now comes the big question here, but what can we do with these features and what should we do in Codebeamer? What you get in Codebeamer, what you have to set up is at least one additional field in here, which is the field called PV restriction. So that's the one which Yash showed you a second ago, where we can define that some of the requirements are just visible for a certain, or are just valid for a certain feature. And how do we do it? You got two ways. One way is that you can say, if this requirement here is just valid for automatic light, you just drag and drop it from the right-hand side to the left-hand side and it's added to the restriction. So you already can see that we get this little icon with the yellow question mark. And if we link this one over here, this one now has a restriction on it and is only valid for this automatic light. To see the restriction, you can just go into the details, or you can open up the different view in Codebeamer, and you can see that, hey, those are our requirements in here, and you can see the restrictions. So for example, you can see that this requirement here is only valid if you're not in the USA or Canada. Or for example, this requirement here is only valid if you pick the feature of DRL for your variant later, and if you don't pick it, it's not valid in there. The other way to do is not only via drag and drop, you also get an editor in here. So basically, you get this restriction editor, where you could also then just start on typing and then get an auto completion in here, where you could say that this requirement here is just valid for USA and not for anything else, and just add more restrictions in here and connect them using logical AND and OR and all the operations which you know from other tools as well. What do those restrictions do, and what are they there for? What can we do with those restrictions and do with them? The main idea is that what Yash already showed you is that we get our variants, and the variants have specific features. So for example, he created this Baselight Denmark a second ago, or some minutes ago, where he said, hey, the Baselight Denmark just has certain features and we don't need everything from here. So you can imagine that this one is the 150% spec, and we now might just want to see, hey, what of this document now is, or what of these trackers is now relevant for Denmark? So what you then can do is you can select your variant in here, and you then see what you've selected for this variant. So you can see our check marks and all these things. And then you can run a preview in here. And this preview then goes over the document, checks all the restrictions, and then shows you, and that's what you can see with this grayed out stuff is this one now only shows us the requirements which are valid for our Denmark variant. So it's not showing the others because they are having restriction on them. They are not valid for our variant, and we now just get those for Denmark in here. And also you could also switch to different ones. If we for example reset this one back to the standard, you could also say let's go for USA, Canada, and run the preview and see, hey, how would my tracker look like once I run the transformation? What is the preview? What are the requirements which are relevant, and see all the things in here. This one then works for your requirements, and from here on you then could go and say, hey, let's create my working set. Let's create a working set for Denmark, for USA, for Sweden, or for whatever variant I want to have, to just get the requirements in there which are relevant and not all the 150%. But there's some more things to show to you in here. So what Josh already mentioned is that we also can do parameter replacement, like what you see in here. So for example, this requirement here has a parameter, this one which Josh showed you as pools. So we also can do text replacement. So means if the variant is relevant for this requirement, we could say that, depending now if it's USA or if it's Canada, we could say this one then is replaced with different values, which also gives you the possibility to write generic requirements and just parameterize them based on regions, features, or whatever. And this is quite a cool feature to have generic ones and then just make them more concrete or more specific using the variant. The second thing I want to show you, and that's the important part of today, is the feature of the link propagation. So what you might know is that we have the requirements, but we also have the software test cases. So we have the software verification tests. And though they're in here are our test cases, and they are already linked to our requirements. So for example, if we take this requirement, you can see this one is, for example, already linked to requirements. And also if we take one of the other ones, they might be linked as well to the requirement. But what we can define in Pure is basically in the Pure widget, we can define if the relationship shall be carried over to the working set or not. So for example, if we're heading here to the general tab, you can see that we have a link, and that's what Josh told you with the references and the choice fields. So we have a link which is called verifies, and we can say that we want to take this link over to our working set, which we are then creating. So means once we're running the transformation for the requirements, and we're saying, hey, we now want to get the transformation done for our Denmark model, and we also want to have everything which is linked in the verifies field. You could also add more restrictions in here, but basically you don't need it because the restriction, we're going from top to bottom, so we're going from the requirements, and we're then just transforming the requirements to our new working set, and also only the test cases which are relevant for that one. And you can define multiple relations and all these things, and also go multiple layers. So basically you could say, hey, I'm starting from requirements and getting everything which is linked down the V model. So let's head back to our software requirements, and let's go to our Pure variants. Say we want to get our Denmark variant, run the preview once more to just see it. And then we open this one in model viewer, because we're now saying, hey, now we not only want to have the preview, now we also want to have the working set in there. So you could go to the open in model viewer, then you see the Pure variants web client. You can see our features and all these things, and you can now run a transformation. And this transformation then takes your 150% and just creates the one for the Denmark variant. So we now run this transformation job. This one takes a few seconds. Then we take, say we want to get new working sets in Codebeamer, and can can run the job. This one now runs a little bit, but normally it's finished quite fast. You can always hover over here and it's running in the background. So you could start the transformation, and depending on your data, I know we all know that there are companies having thousands of requirements and thousands of test cases and so on. This one now should be relatively fast. And on your side, you could just run it using this web client, and once it's finished, you can see it in the transformation overview or in the transformation dashboard that your variants are finished and that your jobs are run. And you can see that it took 19 seconds. It's now not running up here, so it's saying success. So our working set now is created. So now if I head back to Codebeamer, and what you see in here right now is that we not only have the default working set, you also have now one working set for the baseline Denmark. That's the variant which we've created, and where we now can go in there and can see, hey, we're not having the 150% anymore. We're now just having the valid requirements for Denmark. And also if we head back to our trackers, we just have the requirements tracker and the verification tracker, and both of them are linked against each other using the verifies field. So we also don't have all the test cases. We only have the ones which are linked to requirements and which are in there. And that's basically how the transformation then works. So you're and what you do with Pure in Codebeamer. So you basically add restrictions to your requirements. You select your variant, and then you run the transformation job to get working sets which are relying to your variant. So where you could say, hey, I'm now having my one variant for Denmark, or one working set for Denmark, one for USA, one for Canada, one for EMEA, and so on and so on. And there are different use cases and different approaches where you can use those variants, and where you can do all these things. And that's basically what we wanted to show in the live demo, as you get the possibility to add restrictions to your requirements. You can see them if you go into a different view and just check the restrictions. You can generate your previews of the variants and of your requirements documents. You can run the transformations to get working sets only with the relevant requirements and only with the relevant test cases, and can proceed from there on. To finalize, we're now heading just back once to one of our slides, and then heading back into a small Q&A session. So just heading back to the slides, I think Yash, you wanted to take over and just tell some of the benefits of link propagation. I think already some of you might have seen some of the benefits, but just join in.
Yeah, sure. Sure, Fabian. So to wrap up, here are some key benefits of using link propagation. Yeah, so first one is the reusing the existing links between work items. Yeah, so that means you don't need to specifically provide a restriction to the test cases side, right? Because we automatically connects requirements to the test case side from your existing links, right? So the test cases are automatically attached to the requirements, and if the requirement is not there, then test case would be also removed. So you don't need to always use. So you can, if you want, you can even restrict the test case side as well. Yeah, and that goes for as well for the test steps. So if there are some test steps which are necessary for your one test case, yeah, then this link propagation can be also useful for your test cases and test steps as well. And the second is the variability consistency. So by automating link propagation, you maintain the complete variability consistency across your product line, automatically reducing the chance of errors, right? And the last one is the reducing the effort for adding restriction on sub levels as well. So you reduce the need to add restriction manually at multiple levels, yeah, which can be normally a tedious or error-prone process. But yeah, we can easily neglect it with help of link propagation. Yeah, so that's it from our side. And now let's take some questions from your side if you already have.